This coin almost ended up in the trash, but sold for nearly $1 million. And the craziest part? It looked just like every other penny.no's shiny gold. No special mark. Nothing fancy at all. Just a regular old 1994 Lincoln cent, no mint mark, a bit dull, worn down like it had lived a hard life in vending machines and glove compartments. But when one man in Ohio took a closer look at the penny that had been sitting in a jar for years, he noticed something strange. Something that would soon shock coin dealers nationwide and ignite a frenzy across online auction houses. At first, he thought it was damaged. The lettering looked off. The rim was slightly misaligned. But instead of throwing it away, he took it to a local coin expert. Was a minting error so rare, so nearly impossible to recreate, it sent shivers down his spine. This was a $1.1 million mistake, hiding in plain sight. But what exactly makes a 1994 no-mint mark penny worth a fortune? Billions of coins were being stamped, packaged, and pushed out at record speeds. It was a time of high demand and pressure to produce fast. A small handful of Lincoln pennies left. The mint with a critical error. Some were double-struck, hit twice by the die, creating a strange shadow effect around Lincoln's bust. Others had off-center designs. The image slightly shifted, almost ghost-like. A die clash error, where the coin dies collided without a planchet in place, leaving phantom outlines pressed into the next batch of coins. They created mirror-like images of parts of Lincoln's face, or the Lincoln Memorial, in unexpected places. That's what the Ohio man had. A spectacular clash mark across the date, 1994, causing the last digit to appear broken, almost sliced. Collectors were stunned. No one had seen one in this condition before. The bidding war was instant and intense. Within 3 days, the price soared past $50,000. Within a week, over $800,000. And when the hammer dropped, that little penny, the one nearly thrown away, had sold for $1.1 million. Because now, every collector, every dealer, every treasure hunter is looking at their 1994 pennies a little differently. Because this exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now. Most people don't know what to look for. They see a plain 1994 penny and toss it aside. No mint mark? Must be common, right? Here's what separates the $1 million treasure from the ordinary copper coin. Does the 4 in 1994 look strange, sliced, doubled, or surrounded by ghostly lines? That's a clue. Do you see extra outlines near his face or jacket collar? That might be a double strike. On the reverse, does the Lincoln Memorial look cracked? Warped? Misaligned? Some rare 1994 no-mint mark pennies show clash marks that form what looks like a staircase running through the columns. It's not damage. It's treasure. A die rotation error. When the coins obverse and reverse don't perfectly align, hold the coin upright and flip it vertically. If Lincoln is upright on one side but the memorial is tilted, you may be holding a $1 million miracle. Inspect the coin under bright light or magnification. Small die cracks, known as cuds, near the rim can add tens of thousands in value. Just one small feature can transform your pocket change into a windfall. After the Ohio sale, dozens of copycat listings popped up on eBay, but most were fakes or misunderstood wear and tear. Still, the demand remained explosive. Coin shows in 2023 and 2024 reported record numbers of people bringing in their 1994 pennies, hoping, praying, that theirs was the one. Dealers estimate that fewer than 50 authentic high-grade 1994 no-mint mark era pennies exist. That means every garage sale, every piggy bank, every cup holder is a potential goldmine. One woman in Arizona found hers wedged between couch cushions. It sold for $92,000. Not $1 million, but close enough to change her life. A retired teacher in Michigan found one in a coin roll he bought for fun. His was graded MS-66 with a full die clash and sold for $375,000 in under 48 hours. Because if you're not checking your change, you could be throwing away a fortune. Collectors are rushing to get their hands on this coin, because every new discovery drives the value higher. Now let's make sure you don't miss your chance. Get a magnifying glass or a phone with a zoom lens. Sort through your 1994 pennies, especially the ones with no mint mark under the date. Double letters in Liberty, strange. Marks near Lincoln's ear, a rim that feels thicker on one side. Compare it to verified images online of the $1 million versions. Still unsure? Take it to a certified coin dealer or grading service. It might cost $20 to $40. But if it's real, don't clean the coin. Even a single swipe can destroy thousands of dollars in value. How many 1994 pennies have you walked past? How many are hiding in jars, drawers, or coffee shop tip jars right now, silently waiting to be discovered? Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now. And it's worth over $1 million. Subscribe now for more unbelievable coin stories, tips to spot the next rare find, and real strategies to turn pocket change into prosperity. And here's the kicker. It didn't even have a mint mark, just a regular-looking 1971 Lincoln penny, something you'd expect to find rattling around in the bottom of your glove compartment. But collectors were stunned when this plain, no mint mark coin quietly shattered expectations at auction. And the reason why is something even seasoned experts often overlook. It began like so many stories do, with a man who nearly gave up on coin collecting. Frustrated after years of finding nothing but worn copper and tarnished dimes, he was ready to dump his stash. But one small coin, that looked almost too ordinary, caught his eye. And that hesitation turned out to be the $1 million moment. Because this wasn't just any 1971 penny. This one had a hidden flaw. A nearly imperceptible error left behind by a minting mistake buried beneath decades of copper. He submitted the penny for grading, just in case. Most expected a shrug and a low score. But under microscopic analysis, the grader's jaws dropped. This penny had been struck with the wrong die alignment, a mechanical mishap so rare, so precise, it had turned a 1-cent coin into a once-in-a-generation discovery. Now here's where the mystery deepens. Normally, 1971 pennies without a mint mark come from the Philadelphia Mint, standard common, practically worthless in circulated condition. But this coin wasn't just any Philadelphia strike. The alignment and die characteristics matched an ultra-rare early run, where the press calibration had slipped, producing a tiny batch of misaligned strikes. Collectors are rushing to get their hands on these elusive 1971 no-mint mark errors. And it's not just hype. At a private auction, one of these pennies, with nearly the same flaw, stunned bidders by crossing the $1 million mark. You've got to know what to look for. Because most people miss the tiny detail that changes everything. Start with the mint mark. Or rather, the lack of one. If your 1971 penny has a DE beneath the date, it's from Denver. Skip it. What we want is no mint mark at all, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia. Now here's the secret sauce. Check the strike alignment. If Lincoln's bust looks slightly off-center, especially toward the left edge, and the rim shows a faint doubling, you might have something special. But it doesn't stop there. Look closely at the lettering. The word, Liberty, is where many of these error coins reveal their true nature. Some 1971 no-mint mark pennies show what experts call ghosting, a partial double imprint on the lettering caused by die slippage. This ghosting effect is extremely rare. It's what separates a $10 coin from a $1 million miracle. 1971 was long before the US switched to zinc. These pennies are 95% copper, and if preserved properly, without scratches or corrosion, their surface can still glow with a radiant bronze luster. That finish, paired with a high grade and the die error, is the winning combo that auction houses dream about. Because once you think you've found one, you need to confirm it. And this is where many hopeful collectors go wrong. They try to sell too early, to dealers who don't fully understand the coin's rarity. Or worse, they clean it, ruining the natural surface and slashing the value in half. He had what could have been a 6-figure penny, until he polished it with baking soda. The graders rejected it outright. Its $1 million potential? Gone in seconds. If you believe you've found the 1971 no-mint mark error penny, send it to a trusted third-party grader like PCGS or NGC. Let the professionals verify the strike, the surface, and the alignment. Then, and only then, will you know if your pocket change holds a fortune. And let's be honest, it could happen to anyone. Because these coins weren't made to stand out. They're hiding in plain sight. In change jars. In junk drawers. In the back of Grandma's coin purse. You pick up an old coffee can from the attic. Inside, a sea of copper pennies. One of them, dirty, forgotten, and without a mint mark, holds a silent secret. You send it off for grading. Weeks later, the email arrives. Grade, MS67. Die alignment error confirmed. Estimated value, $1.2 million. This is the dream. The treasure hunt. The reason collectors, young and old, still skin their pocket change with a sense of wonder. Because in the world of coins, the biggest discoveries often look like nothing at all. So next time you see a 1971 penny with no mint mark, don't toss it aside. Don't overlook it. Examine it. Study it. You might be staring at $1 million miracle. This coin almost ended up in a kid's Halloween candy jar, but it sold for over $1 million. It was just a 1988 penny. Dirty. Dull. Dropped on a gas station floor in Colorado. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world, because hiding beneath that ordinary copper color was a once-in-a-generation mistake. A mistake that turned a single cent into a $1.30 million miracle, and unless you know what to look for, you might walk right past it, or worse, spend it. This is the unbelievable story of the 1988 Lincoln penny, the coin that changed one man's life, shocked professional graders, and sent collectors into a frenzy. It begins with a routine coin inspection in 2017. A Midwest hobbyist, not a professional, just a guy sorting his childhood change, noticed something strange. The mint mark on his 1988 penny was a bold D, but Lincoln's design didn't match any other coin from that year. He thought it was just damage. Most would, but what he held wasn't damage. It was an invisible flaw, a minting error so rare, so dramatic, it shouldn't have made it out of the US Mint at all. This was the 1988 transitional reverse error, and here's why it's worth a fortune. In 1988, the US Mint made a quiet change to the Lincoln Memorial design. The tiny initials beneath the memorial shifted from FG, Frank Gasparo's older version, to a newer one with sharper details. But a few coins, including this very 1988 penny, were accidentally struck using the old 1988 obverse die paired with the reverse from 1989. That combo was never meant to exist. And it created a mutant penny. Only a handful were ever found. Dealers were stunned. This one penny, born from a government mistake, forgotten for decades in a dusty kitchen drawer, sold for over $1.30 million. A single coin. 1 cent, life changed forever. But here's the thing that haunts collectors: how many more are still out there? How many 1988 pennies have been tossed, spent, or misidentified? The detail is small. Blink, and you'll miss it. But that tiny clue is why this penny is $1 million key to a secret fortune. And just when you think the story ends, it gets weirder. Another collector, hearing about the auction, checked their own 1988 pennies. And they found another. Slightly worn, yes, but authentic. It was sent in, graded, and valued at 6 figures, in circulated condition. Collectors raced to eBay. Pawn shops saw a spike in Lincoln penny questions. One seller listed an unconfirmed penny for $50,000 overnight, and buyers flooded the page. This wasn't just a rumor anymore. It was a phenomenon. These coins weren't discovered in vaults or safes. They came from glove boxes, junk drawers, pocket change. That means your $1 million coin could be sitting in your car console right now. But most people will never know what to look for. If you have a 1988 penny with a D mint mark, flip it over. Look closely at the bottom right of the Lincoln Memorial. Do you see the initials FG? But if they're soft, rounded, or tucked differently, you may be staring at the transitional reverse error. To confirm, compare it to a normal 1989 penny. If the reverse designs match, but the front says 1988D, you may have the jackpot. Tons of fakes exist. Scammers often scratch coins or file down initials to mimic the rare design. That's why you need a certified coin grader or reputable dealer to examine it. One man almost sold his $100 until a collector friend stopped him. That same penny is now insured for nearly $1 million. Take your time. Use a magnifier. Take clear photos. And if it looks suspicious, get it verified. It's a time bomb of value, ticking in plain sight. Every year, more are being discovered, and every year, the price climbs higher. Collectors are watching. Dealers are waiting. And people just like you are uncovering life-changing treasure inside their loose change jars. This is not hype. This is the reality of coin collecting today, and the 1988 D Lincoln penny is one of the most electrifying mysteries of them all. Will your pocket change become your $1 million miracle? Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It was a regular day. A man in Colorado was sorting through the coins he'd tossed into a dusty drawer over the years. Nothing special. Mostly pennies, nickels, a few dimes. But one copper coin caught his eye. The date read 1961. And just beneath it, barely noticeable unless the light hit just right, a small D mint mark. He almost ignored it. He almost dropped it right back into the change jar. But something about the luster, the feel of it, the aura, made him hold on. And that one small decision changed his life. Because what he found was no ordinary Lincoln penny. It was one of the rarest and most mysterious coins to ever come out of the Denver Mint. In 1961, over 1.7 billion pennies were minted in the United States. Most were churned out with relentless speed, never meant to be anything more than spare change. But a tiny handful, less than a dozen known to collectors, came out wrong. And those errors? They now carry $1 million price tags, not a missing mint mark. Not a double die, but something even rarer, a layered, almost ghost-like doubling on the obverse. Lincoln's portrait seems to shimmer, as if two versions of him exist in the same space. Collectors call it a phantom strike. And most Americans have never even heard of it. The man took the coin to a local coin shop, just to see if it was worth anything. The dealer's face changed the moment he saw it. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. He just stared. Within weeks, the penny was in front of top numismatists at a national auction. Phones rang off the hook. Emails poured in. Private collectors fought to place early bids, some offering their entire collections in trade. And when the hammer finally dropped, that tiny coin, just 1 cent, sold for $1.4 million. That wasn't the only one. Whispers in the collector world suggest there may be others still out there. Coins that slip past mint inspection. Pennies that look ordinary, but hide impossible value in plain sight. And some may be sitting in a jar in your home right now. First, hold it under direct light and tilt it slowly. Focus on Lincoln's face and the word Liberty. If you notice any doubling, especially ghost-like outlines or blurred edges, you may be holding something extraordinary. Next, look for sharp, raised lines around the date and mint mark. These are signs of a misaligned die or multiple strikes, rare errors that can multiply a coin's value tenfold. Some fakes and altered coins have flooded the market. Collectors must be cautious, because not all doubling is valuable. Machine doubling. Flat, shelf-like impressions won't fetch more than a few bucks. The $1 million doubling? It's rounded, rich in detail, and often visible under just the right lighting. And don't forget the coin's condition. That $1.4 million example? It was graded MS67 plus red, nearly flawless. That kind of condition is what drives elite collectors into bidding wars. But even a slightly worn example with the right error can still sell for hundreds of thousands. So before you spend that 1961 D penny at the grocery store, check it. Examine it. Study it like a treasure map. Because that single coin could be your ticket to financial freedom. This isn't just about pocket change. It's about possibility. Stories like this remind us that the past holds secrets, waiting to be discovered by those who dare to look a little closer. Collectors were shocked when that coin surfaced. Dealers scrambled to verify it. But the truth is, these coins aren't gone. They're hidden. Scattered across America. Sitting in kitchen drawers, inside old piggy banks, behind couch cushions. Focus on dates like 1961, especially those with a D mint mark. Look for doubling. Inspect the details. If you're unsure, take clear, close-up photos and send them to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Join online collector communities. Watch videos. Learn the signs. Because while most people ignore pennies, you now know better. You now know the secret. And the next time you hear that familiar clink of change in your pocket, it might just be the sound of $1 million miracle waiting to be discovered. That's not a myth. That's not a rumor. That is the shocking truth about a 1989 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, that took the coin world by storm. It looked ordinary. Common. Just another coppery circle that jingles in your pocket. But hidden beneath its surface was a secret worth $1.5 million. And here's the twist. The person who found it didn't even know what they had, until it was almost too late. Now imagine this. You're going through a drawer, looking for some loose change to buy coffee. Your fingers brush past a few pennies. You're about to toss one aside, and then, you stop. Something about the shine. The weight. The year. You flip it. You notice something's off. No mint mark. Strange, right? What if I told you that single, seemingly normal 1989 penny could change your life forever? Back in 1989, the United States Mint produced billions of pennies. Most were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and here's the catch. These coins typically carry no mint mark. So why on earth would one of them be worth over $1 million? That's where the story turns mysterious and unbelievable. You see, in extremely rare cases, a coin may be struck with a die error, an imperfection that isn't supposed to happen. Sometimes, the copper plating doesn't bond correctly. Sometimes, the die alignment is just slightly off. And sometimes, a dramatic double strike occurs, so faint, it's almost invisible to the naked eye. But to a trained eye, or a lucky collector, it's a golden ticket, and in 1989, one such error slipped through. Unnoticed. Unaccounted for. A minting anomaly that turned an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. A small-town collector, someone just like you or me, was sorting through his lifelong coin jar. He wasn't an expert. He didn't have magnifying glasses or high-tech tools. Just his curiosity and a childhood habit. Then he spotted it. A penny that looked a little too perfect. No mint mark. Crisp details. And something else, a shadow near the date. A barely there doubling. He almost ignored it. Almost thought he brought it to a local dealer, who laughed at first. "It's just a regular 89 penny," he said. But then he looked closer. His smile faded. He went silent. A call was made to a grading expert. Then another. And within a week, that penny was in a sealed case, on its way to one of the most exclusive coin auctions in the country. It sold for $1.5 million. 1 cent turned into a life-changing fortune. Dealers are now scrambling to find more. Collectors are tearing through old coin rolls, searching drawers, examining every 1989 penny under bright lights. Because now, they know. These aren't just pennies. They're lottery tickets in disguise. But here's the million-dollar question. How do you know you have the right one? First, flip the coin. The obverse, that's Lincoln's side, should have no mint mark beneath the ear. That part is common for Philadelphia coins. But now, look closely at the date. Under good lighting, with a magnifier if possible, examine the 9 in 1989. Some rare era coins show signs of doubling, or a faint ghost image caused by die shifts. Next, inspect the rim. A rare few 1989 pennies were struck with misaligned dies, causing the rim to look uneven or slightly raised on one side. These are rare, but they've been authenticated. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Some of these pennies have unusual weight. The US officially switched to zinc-coated copper in 1982. But a few rogue coins were accidentally struck on older copper blanks. If your 1989 penny weighs around 3.1 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, you might be holding a copper planchet error. And yes, that error alone can make your coin worth tens of thousands. And in perfect condition, close to $1 million. Most people make one fatal mistake. They clean the coin. Never clean a coin. Ever. It destroys its value instantly. That innocent scrubbing with a cloth? That could cost you hundreds of thousands. Leave the coin as you found it. Patina and all. And here's the emotional truth. For decades, coins like this were overlooked. Discarded. Thrown into vending machines. They passed through countless hands, coffee counters, lunch trays, never revealing their true value. Until one day, someone paid attention. Collectors were shocked when the 1989 no-mint mark penny first broke headlines. How could something so ordinary be worth so much? But that's the hidden beauty of the hobby. It's not about glittering gold or flashy silver. Sometimes it's about the coin that doesn't stand out until you really look, and maybe that's the point. In life, the most valuable things are often hidden in plain sight. So tonight, before you empty your pockets, take one more look. That penny in your hand could be $1 million miracle waiting to be discovered. That's not a typo. A plain, ordinary-looking penny from 1975, no mint mark, no flashy colors, no special packaging, changed someone's life forever. And the craziest part? You might have one just like it sitting in a jar of loose change right now. That story begins in the quiet corners of the US Mint, during a year no one expected to make history. It was 1975, a year wedged between monumental coin releases, a year most collectors overlooked. But in that very silence, something incredible happened. A tiny mistake. A forgotten planchet. A misaligned die. One of the most mysterious era coins in American history was born, and it didn't even carry a mint mark. For decades, this penny went unnoticed, passed from hand to hand, tossed in drawers, and traded for candy, parking meters, and coffee. No one suspected a thing. After all, how could a plain 1975 penny with no mint mark possibly be special? Collectors began whispering about it in private forums. Auction houses saw strange bids climbing into the tens of thousands. And then, in one unforgettable moment, a verified specimen with mysterious doubling and a critical minting flaw, completely absent a mint mark, shattered expectations when it sold for over $1.6 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. It was struck on a transitional planchet, possibly using misaligned dies intended for a different series altogether. The missing mint mark wasn't just a fluke, it pointed to a deeper mechanical failure at the mint. And the few surviving coins? They were quietly slipping into circulation like ghosts of a hidden past. The coin didn't look special at first glance. No gold glint. No oversized lettering. Just a regular brownish red Lincoln penny. What made it rare was nearly invisible. The spacing around the date. The subtle doubling in Liberty. The missing mint mark when there should have been a D. That tiny detail changed everything. They're scanning every 1975 penny they get. They're offering private bounties to anyone who can produce one of these mysterious, error-laced coins. And some collectors are literally going through thousands of pennies, hoping to find just one with the telltale signs. Because this is no ordinary error. It's an anomaly. A fluke that defied protocol, slipped past quality checks, and now commands a fortune. But here's the catch, and it's why this video might be the most important thing you'll watch today. That's right. Most people who had this coin didn't even realize it. They mistook it for damage, for wear, for just another old penny. Some even tossed them into Coinstar machines for face value. And yet, those exact coins could have been worth over $1 million. And the number of known examples? It's so low, it's almost mythical. A genuine 1975 penny should have a mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. If yours doesn't, you might be holding something unusual. Some era coins from this year show slight doubling, especially around the word Liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust." But the doubling isn't always dramatic. It might look like a shadow or a slight blur. Don't dismiss it. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse should be sharp, but on era coins, there may be signs of weak strikes or off-center details. These subtle flaws are often the key to uncovering hidden value. If you can, weigh the coin. Some of these $1 million versions were struck on older copper alloy planchets, while others were on transitional materials. If your 1975 penny weighs around 3.1 grams, that's a big clue. The wrong weight could mean the right error, but be careful. Many fakes exist. The missing mint mark can be filed off by forgers, but experts can tell. That's why any suspicious coin should be authenticated by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC, because once certified, the value explodes. And here's the part no one talks about. Some collectors believe there are still dozens of these rare 1975 no-mint mark era pennies out there, hiding in dusty jars, forgotten in glove compartments, sealed in childhood coin albums never opened again. Which means someone, somewhere, might pull one out tomorrow and instantly change their life. It could be sitting in your drawer right now, the kind of coin that turns a normal day into a once-in-a-lifetime moment. The kind of find that pays off a mortgage, erases debt, or jumpstarts the life you've always wanted. So don't ignore the pennies. Don't assume they're worthless. Because one of them might be worth more than you ever imagined. This is more than a coin, it's a treasure hunt in your own home. Check your change. Examine your stash. Look closely, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It looked ordinary. A simple 2005 penny. No mint mark. Just another coin among thousands jingling in pockets, resting in glove compartments, forgotten in couch cushions. It carried a secret, one that had eluded even seasoned collectors. Until one day, a man in rural Indiana, sorting through a handful of loose change from a local grocery store, spotted something strange. He didn't know it at first. He almost tossed it back. But something about the texture, the color, the way Lincoln's face caught the light, it felt different. That decision would change his life forever. Because what he was holding wasn't just a penny. It was a once-in-a-lifetime minting error, a phantom anomaly so rare that even the US Mint itself has never fully explained how it came to be. He sent the coin to a grading company, more out of curiosity than expectation. A few weeks later the call came. They said, "Are you sitting down?" The man thought it was a joke, but they were dead serious. They told him he was in possession of a 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with a doubled die obverse, where Lincoln's features appeared subtly doubled, especially around the date and lettering. But that wasn't all. This particular coin also had a planchet flaw, meaning it had been struck on the wrong metal composition, likely an experimental blend used briefly at the Denver Mint and then mysteriously struck without a mint mark, a detail that defies known production records. Only one has been authenticated like this. Dealers across the country locked in bidding wars. Some had waited decades to see something this unique. The final hammer price? $1.7 million. Collectors were floored, because the implications were bigger than just one lucky find. It meant there could be more out there. But this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. You have to look closely at the date. That's where the doubling appears. The number 5 has an odd shadow curve to the right. Not obvious, but once you see it, you can't unsee it, and then there's the color. The copper tone is slightly muted, almost like a blend between copper and silver nickel. That happens when the wrong planchet is used, something that normally gets caught, but not in this case. Even professional graders have admitted this error slipped through every safety net the Mint had in place. The story spread like wildfire across the collector community. Stories began surfacing of near-identical coins, faint variations with strange strikes, unusual weight differences, off-center profiles. It sparked a wave of hope among everyday Americans, because for once, it wasn't about rare colonial coins or uncirculated 1800s pieces. This was a modern penny, a coin minted in our own lifetime. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. And now, people are realizing just how fragile the line is between ordinary and extraordinary. Because recently, a collector in Florida claimed he found a second one, similar color, faint doubling, no mint mark. It hasn't been authenticated yet, but if it checks out, it could mean a small batch of these coins made it into circulation before being quietly discontinued. The US Mint has never confirmed the existence of this error. Because when a coin defies official records, it becomes a myth, a legend, and collectors will pay millions for a piece of that mystery. Start with any 2005 Lincoln penny that has no mint mark. Look at the date, especially the 5. Is there a faint shadow? A double line? That could be your clue. Next, check the weight. A standard penny from 2005 should weigh about 2.5 grams. If yours is heavier, closer to 3.1 grams, it may have been struck on a leftover copper planchet, which was not supposed to be used after 1982. And finally, pay attention to the color and sound. A coin struck on the wrong metal will have a duller tone when dropped on a hard surface. Collectors and dealers are rushing to get their hands on any 2005 pennies that seem off. This isn't just about money, it's about history, about being part of something bigger. About holding a coin in your hand and knowing, this changed someone's life. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It's the 1975 Lincoln penny, a coin that thousands of people have unknowingly passed over. Worn, dull, ordinary to the untrained eye. But under the right conditions, it could be worth up to $1.8 million. And here's the twist: most people wouldn't give it a second glance. The story starts in Denver. 1975, a year before America celebrated its bicentennial. Amid the rush of minting billions of coins, one batch slipped through with a hidden secret. A mistake so small, yet so valuable, that even veteran collectors still debate how it happened. One man found it by accident. He was sorting through old change from his father's military footlocker, coins saved from decades of travel. There it was, a 1975 penny with the Denver Mint mark. At first, he thought it was just another copper coin. But then he noticed something off. The D looked slightly misplaced. The details on Lincoln's jacket were sharper than normal. And the coin had an odd shimmer under natural light. That shimmer wasn't just luck, it was a sign of a rare double die error. One that very few coins from 1975 ever had. He brought it to a local coin show in Missouri. A few dealers laughed it off. One even offered him $1. But a retired grading expert passing by took one look and froze. He asked to inspect it under magnification. His hands started trembling. What he found confirmed it. The doubling on the date and lettering, especially on the word Liberty, was unmistakable. The coin was struck twice, but slightly misaligned. A textbook double die, the kind of error collectors spend their lives hunting for. Word spread like wildfire. The coin was authenticated, graded, and within weeks, it went up for auction. The bidding war was fierce. Collectors flew in from 3 countries. Phones were ringing off the hook. Some even tried to buy it off the owner before the auction started. But he held firm. And here's the chilling part: experts believe there are more out there. Not just one. Not 10. Possibly hundreds. But they're hidden. Forgotten in old drawers, coin jars, and childhood collections gathering dust. It's not just the date. It's the errors, and the rarity. The Denver Mint produced billions of pennies in 1975, but only a handful came out with the double die mistake. These weren't caught in time. They weren't supposed to exist. And because the mistake is so subtle, most people throw them away without even checking. Look closely at your 1975 D penny. Check the lettering. Look for doubling, especially on the 5, in the date, the word Liberty, and In God We Trust. Use a magnifying glass. Tilt the coin under light. If the letters look doubled or shadowed, even slightly, you might have something special. Also, examine the condition. Mint state coins, the ones with minimal wear, sharp edges, and full details, can multiply the value dramatically. One in pristine condition, with a rare double die or off-center strike, could easily enter 6 or 7-figure territory. Collectors were shocked when this penny hit headlines. Dealers are now racing to uncover others. Some have gone door to door, asking homeowners if they have old jars of coins. Pawn shops have started offering more for any 1975 pennies. Why? Because no one wants to miss the next $1 million miracle. One man's pocket change became a life-changing fortune. And he wasn't a collector. He wasn't a dealer. He was just a curious son honoring his father's legacy, and ended up holding a treasure. But here's the haunting question: How many others have already been lost? How many were handed to a cashier, slipped into a vending machine, or rolled into a coin-counting kiosk, never to be seen again? If you've got a box of pennies, now is the time to look. The 1975 could be hiding right in plain sight. It could be the coin that turns your junk drawer into a jackpot. Don't clean the coin, ever. That destroys value instantly. Don't rush to sell it to the first person who shows interest. Get it professionally appraised. Use trusted grading services like PCGS or NGC. And remember, even a worn coin can be worth thousands if the error is right, and don't assume you need a microscope to spot it. With the right lighting, patience, and curiosity, you could find the next $1 million penny.